This thing all started a while ago. I was in Iowa, and I was doing a show, and there was a bunch of farmers in the crowd, and I don't know anything about farming. So I asked this guy, I go, what do you farm? He goes, beans? And I said, like green beans? And they all started laughing at me like I was the dumbest person they'd ever met. He thinks we go green beans in Iowa. Oh, that's a good one there, green bean. Green beans in Iowa, don't that beat all? This fella is a comedian, I'll tell you. It was soybeans. All right, it was soybeans. I didn't know. By the way, green beans, that's not that ridiculous of an answer. That's a real food. I've eaten them before. I didn't say jelly beans, okay? I said a legitimate vegetable. I don't know what the plants look like. I mean, I know corn. Like I know corn. Like I could pick corn out of a lineup, but past that, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I get confused. I'm like, is that a potato tree? I can't tell. I'm not sure. Like, you should be nice to people when they don't know something. That's how I was brought up. You know, I live in the suburbs of St. Louis. I hope one of those farm guys comes to the suburbs sometime. Maybe I won't be so nice to him. I'll take him and do like some, suburb stuff or whatever. I'll take him to the Texas Roadhouse. He won't know what to do there. Where's the bowl for the peanut shells? You throw them on the floor, dummy. Ah, ha, ha. You don't know what to do in the suburbs, you stupid bean picker. I'll take him to Starbucks. I'll take a large coffee. It's called venti here. Venti, dirt digger. Don't be ordering beans either. They got beans here, but they're coffee beans. Arabica, Robusta, no soy. Then the barista will be like, well, technically, we have soybeans in soy lattes. And I'll be like, you shut your mouth, hippie. All right, you don't take sides against your own kind. We're on the same team. So I told that story later, and this lady came up to me after the show. She goes, hey, I'm a farmer. She goes, don't feel bad about the beans. She goes, I met this guy the other day. He didn't know the difference between field corn and sweet corn. Ha 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 ha. What a dummy. Yeah, you know how earlier when I said I know corn? I don't. They're like, there's two different kinds. I'm like, yeah, on the cob and not on the cob. They're like, no, it's field and sweet. I'm like, oh, sweet. You're talking about kettle corn. I've had it. Yeah. So, like, if you don't know the difference between field corn and sweet corn, field corn, that's what they grind up and they feed to the animals. And sweet corn, that's what we eat. And once they explain it, it's very easy to remember because field corn is grown in a field, whereas sweet corn is grown in a field. So you can see these farmers make it real easy to understand their stuff. When I was in Iowa, I went to the restaurant, and on the front page of the menu, it said, we make our own ketchups. They were bragging about their homemade ketchup. Honestly, I'm not sure that I knew ketchup was made. I thought that was an element. I thought that was K on the periodic table. It turns out that's potassium, which makes no sense at all. There's not even a K in that word. What, now you're gonna tell me RN is not for ranch dressing? Why don't you take a science class? I tried one of their homemade ketchups. It was not good. Now, granted, I think it was field ketchup, but... So, I don't know a lot about farming, I guess you can see. I mean, the closest thing that I do to farming on a regular basis is sometimes when I'm at the grocery store, I'll buy stuff out of the bulk bins. I'm not saying it's as hard as farming. I'm just saying there's a lot of similarities. You got to shovel out the walnuts, you got to put the walnuts in a bag. You got to weigh the bag. Farmers are always weighing stuff. You got to You gotta write the POU code number on the bag. A lot of times there's not even a pen to write that POU code number on the bag. So you take it up to the register. The lady's like, you're supposed to write the code number on the bag. I'm like, lady, there's not a pen to write that code number on. Honestly, now that I think about it, it's probably harder than farming. You know, like you don't have all those steps in farming. You don't have to deal with that lady. And why do I have to write the code number on the bag anyway? They're walnuts. If you work at a grocery store, you should be able to identify a walnut. That should be part of the hiring process. What's that right there? Oh, that's a pecan. Nah, you can't work here, man. You're fired. But they were like, no, we got to know whether they're organic walnuts or regular walnuts. I'm like, well, organic walnuts are $78 a pound, and I'm not a Saudi Arabian prince. So I'm pretty sure they're not organic walnuts. There's like 6 guys in the world that can afford organic walnuts, and none of them just used a frequent shopper card. Like the first farmer that I really ever knew was through wrestling. I was a wrestler when I was in college. And yeah, my senior year, my coach called me in for a meeting. He goes, Warren, he goes, you need more competition in the practice room. He goes, this is what we're doing this year. We're bringing in this guy named Steve. He's a local farmer. He used to wrestle back in the day. He was real good. I'm like, all right, I'll wrestle Farmer Steve. Steve shows up the first day. He's old. He's like 45, all right? When you see a guy that's 45 and you're 20, you're like, I'm not gonna wrestle that guy. I'll play checkers with him or something like that. So for the first hour of practice, Steve just sits down on the wall like an old guy. Finally, coach goes, Warren, wrestle Steve. I go, Steve, you wanna warm up? Steve goes like this, he goes. That's not a wrestling stance. I look at my buddy, I go, I don't want to hurt this old dude. And then they blew the whistle. Steve jumped about 1.5 feet in the air. He grabbed me by my chin and my head. He threw me on the mat and proceeded to beat me. Like when I say beat me, I don't mean he scored more points than me. He physically beat me. It was like he beat me over the head with me, all right? Come to find out, Steve was on the Olympic team in 1980. Nobody told me that. You guys remember what happened in 1980? We boycotted. We didn't go. And apparently, Steve was still angry about it. I was on the bottom like, Steve, I'm not Jimmy Carter. I had nothing to do. If you guys don't remember what happened in 1980, that summer the Olympics were in Moscow, and in the spring the Russians invaded Afghanistan, and our president said, hey, if you guys don't get out of Afghanistan, we're not going to the Olympics. Now, what he could have done was just sent Steve to Afghanistan. He would have handled that situation in about a half an hour. No more Steve, very bad man, no more Steve. We quit. You have Afghanistan. You have Russia if you want. Just for God's sake, please, no more Steve. Very, very bad man, Steve. So yeah, man, that's my limitation of farm knowledge. Steve, you know. And it wasn't pleasant. Right? But I've been trying to learn. Ever since those bean pickers made fun of me, I've already learned some stuff. I learned this, corn, that is the #1 cash crop in the United States. I didn't know that, mostly because I don't know what a cash crop is. I think it means like corn, that's a very popular vegetable, so the corn farmers, they only accept cash, whereas your lesser vegetables, like a Brussels sprout, they'll take Diners Club. You could use a TJ Maxx card for some asparagus, I'm pretty sure. I also learned this, if you're hanging out with a bunch of farmers and one of them has their fly down, just say, hey man, your fly's down. Don't say, somebody forgot to shut the barn door. They flip out. Randy, I told you to shut that? That's our livelihood? And I've been visiting places. I actually went to a farm festival here in Illinois, a little bit south here, in Millstadt, Illinois. And it was cool. They had all this farm stuff. There's like 1,000 people there. I took my niece. It was cool. We did farm stuff. Like we went in a corn maze. It was tough. It was hard. It was way harder than the cabbage maze. I mean, that was. I can see it all from here. We we sat on a hay bale and watched a country band, and that's the only chairs they have at a farm festival is a hay bale. I felt guilty because the horse is probably looking at you like, yeah, man, I was gonna eat that. You sit on me all day long. Now you want to sit on my food. Anything else you want to sit on? Oh, hey, those are pony rides over there. You want to sit on my kids? Thanks a lot, you jerk. But we're sitting on this hay bale, and this guy comes up. He goes, "They're getting ready to shoot the pumpkin." I don't know what that means, but I'm in. It sounds. They wheel out this giant cannon. It was like a war cannon, and they just put a pumpkin in it, and they shot it far and high and fast and beautiful. Like. I went to the Grand Canyon a couple months ago, and if you haven't been, go, because it's breathtaking. But after about 6 minutes there, I was like, I wish they had a pumpkin cannon. I mean, it's nice and all, but after a while, it's just rocks. I mean, shoot some vegetables. Give me some action. I mean, I'm not a dad. If I was a dad, I would be honest. I'd be, my child was born today. Today was the greatest day of my life. Except for when I saw that pumpkin cannon in Millstadt, Illinois. That was way better. That was way better. I would be honest. Whenever dads start talking about the greatest day of their life, they always backtrack, The Cardinals won the World Series. This is the greatest day of my life. Except for my wedding day and the birth of my 3 children. That was better, definitely. My wife's not here, is she? At least once I'd like to hear some guy. The Cardinals won the World Series. This is 10 times better than when my stupid kid was born. I mean, I love my kid, but the day he was born, I just met him. I've been a Cardinals fan for 54 years, man. My dad's a big St. Louis Cardinal baseball fan. He loves them. Yeah, I mean, he really likes the baseball, but more importantly, the Cardinals have this promotion where if they score 6 or more runs in a game, he gets his coffee the next day at the gas station for 39 cents. And normally I think it's about 59 cents. So you can see it's very important to him. It's a big part of his life. And we're watching the game one time, and it's late in the game. The Cardinals they're winning like 5-0, and I think bottom of the 8th or something. I don't know. And basically they had the game won. But he's locked in because he hadn't gotten his coffee yet. And our best hitter came up and he grounded into a double play to end the inning. And my dad looked at me and goes, "Seems kind of fishy, huh?" Yeah, they're point shaving, Dad. They're point shaving, yeah. Yeah, the Cardinals are in collusion with Mobile on the Run. So you don't save 20 cents on your coffee tomorrow. Like, I would call the FBI, Dad. This has got to go to the top. This is important. This is the next Chicago White Sox scandal. Yeah, my dad, he was a high school wrestling coach. He was my wrestling coach in high school. It was pretty cool because I was like one of the only white guys on the team. And so when your first day of high school, when you're a freshman, you're really nervous and scared. I wasn't, because I knew all the guys on the wrestling team from my dad. I knew Byron Blasingame. He was the toughest guy in the whole school. And he was cool to me. He was really nice to me. Every time he'd see me in the hallway, he'd go, "Lil Warren, where your daddy at? Where your daddy at, Lil Warren?" Like, that was Byron's way of saying hi. Like, he really didn't want to know where my dad was, but I was like a dorky white kid, so I'm like, "I think he's at the bank, Byron." Lil Warren say his daddy at the bank. Like, I got it after a while. Like, I got it. Where your daddy at, Lil Warren? Hi, Byron.